Fans of Thomas Mott, welcome to Photo of Eagles Now. Mailbag time here on a weekend, as we have plenty of really good mailbag questions, as we always do. Our subscribers do a really good job of asking these questions. Of course, you gotta be a subscriber to be featured. Quickly though, shout out to Brenton Hillman, who's a brand new subscriber, and he said in our previous video, and Graham Huxley as well, their favorite players were Brian Dawkins. We asked both of these guys, or really everybody, who their favorite player was in Eagle history. They all said Brian Dawkins, or these two did. You know, B-Doc is kind of the obvious answer in my opinion. My first real love, though, as an Eagles fan, because I grew up, obviously, born in 96, and so I was young, kind of watching the Eagles as they were going through their early 2000 runs. I was a massive Brian Westbrook fan. First Eagle jersey I ever got was like a youth small, all black 36, and I think I still have it at my parents' house somewhere. Massive Brian Westbrook fan. But obviously Dawkins, Westbrook, McNabb, Owens, all those legendary Eagles when I was young. Always big fans of them. Of course, make sure you guys are subscribed. And for another shout out, answer this question down below. What's your favorite soda? Kind of a random non-sports related question, but want to see. Favorite soda, answer, and sub for a shout out in next week's video. Okay. Tariq Shell says, which Eagles coach on the hot seat? Should the Eagles underperform or have another quick exit in the first round, or miss the playoffs entirely with all the talent on the roster currently? I think the easy answer is Jonathan Gannon. Gannon's seat is super hot, and it's super hot for a bevy of reasons, but it's super hot because he wasn't that great last year, and you can go statistically, Philadelphia wasn't horrible, and you can point to some games against, some teams where they played very, very well. When you actually look at these things, they did not play well against a good quarterback. That was the stat last year. It was like every, good quarterback they played against, they got obliterated by. Obliterated by Dak, they got obliterated by Tom Brady. Like, all the good ones played excellent against the Eagle defense. It was the bad ones who struggled, and it's like, okay, well, you want to win games against the good ones, so let's go ahead and improve that. And now, you take that same defense from last year, you get people back from injury, and you add in a ton of talent. I mean, 4 serious players here. Jordan Davis is going to be, competing for a starting spot at D-tackle. James Bradbury, starting cornerback. Nakobe Dean, maybe starting linebacker. Hassan Reddick, starting pass rusher. They have added some serious defensive firepower, and so if they underperform and the defense struggles, Gannon's gone, and they'll look for, I think, more of an older, wiser kind of defensive coordinator to bring in to replace him. But he has all the tools, so hopefully he doesn't underperform at all. I think Sirianni should be safe. I think Nick Sirianni's going to be just fine. It would take, a monumental collapse and him probably losing the locker room in order for Sirianni to not go ahead, or for Sirianni to get fired. I think that it would if the offense struggles, the blame will go to Jalen Hurts. He'll be, traded or just benched, and then they'll bring in Gardner Minshew, and then they'll draft Bryce Young or CJ Stroud next year. Like, I think Sirianni's going to be safe. It would take him losing the locker room, and I don't see him losing the locker room. It's a strong locker room right now in Philadelphia. Add rate, pin comment down below. Is this the best defense the Eagles have had since the Super Bowl year? I think yes. And you go statistically, that wasn't necessarily a crazy great defense. They played well at times, but you think back to the Super Bowl game and they gave up a ton of points to Tom Brady and company. But I do think this year will be the best defense we've seen since the Super Bowl. Okay, Spirit Hunter TV says, would you agree and do this trade? Jesse Bates and a 5th rounder this draft for Jalen Reagor and Isaac Seumalo. There's still upside to Reagor, and also Seumalo is proven to be one of the great blockers time and time again. Okay, so here's the mock trade. Throw it up on the screen, make it easier. So Bates and a 5th for Reagor and Isaac Seumalo. Now, I would do this, but there's just no way the Bengals are doing this trade. The Bengals are not going to go ahead and do this trade. We're talking about Jesse Bates, who's a Pro Bowl caliber safety, one of the better safeties in the league for, a rotational left guard. A starting left guard, but not a top 5 left guard in the National Football League. And Reagor, who's an absolute head case and might stink the rest of his life. Like, there's no guarantee that Rager's ever going to actually be good. And right now, they don't really need wide receivers in Cincinnati because they're stacked at wide receiver. It's not just, Jamar Chase. They got a bunch of great guys on the outside, including T. Higgins. So, yeah, I don't see the Bengals doing this one, although maybe something more like Seumalo and like a 3rd-round draft pick for Jesse Bates. I think you got to give them a little bit more in order to coax Jesse Bates out of their clutches right now because they want to try to go ahead and keep him. But, Bates is worth, I think, a trade like that. I would do this trade in a heartbeat if it was possible, but I don't see that happening. I think you got to give up probably a 2nd or a 3rd-round draft pick in order to get him if you really are going to try to pry him away from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, would you accept or decline that trade? I think most of us would type A down below for accept. If you would not do the trade, I'm curious why. I guess type D down below for decline, but I think most of us would type A down below for accept. Okay, we are 57 subscribers away from 30K. I've been asking for 30K for like a month now, and it's like every day it's like, oh, well, we're this much closer, and then we're that much closer. We're 57 new subs away from 30,000 subs, which is a massive milestone. There are very few Eagle channels. Might even be one maybe that's at 30,000 right now. I mean, we are really standing at top of the mountain right now, and really only halfway up. If you guys want to go ahead and subscribe and help us get to the tippy top of the mountain, go down below and help us get the final 57 by hitting that red subscribe button. A lot of new subscribers every day. Welcome. If you already subscribed, appreciate you. If you have not, help us out. Let's get to 30,000. Grom Grimfist says, or I think that's how you say his name. If you trade Hargrave, you save $13 million in cap savings. Don't you think he is more likely traded than Cox, who would only save $2.1 million? In terms of money, yes. Like, you make a case here that you save more money getting rid of Hargrave's contract, and you are right about that. However, I would argue Javon Hargrave is right now a better player than Fletcher Cox, and I think the stats would go ahead and back that up and prove that as well. He had a very quiet 7.5 sacks last year. Very quiet, very productive player. He never gets a lot of love. It's all about Cox, and I think that even though Cox is still, can't have his star potential, I think that the future is much brighter with Hargrave than it is with Cox. I think the future in the defensive line is that Hargrave, becomes the savvy veteran of the D-tackle spot. Then it's Jordan Davis and Milton Williams kind of fill in those roles. Cox is, free to go sign with somebody else next year, and then the young pass rushers continue to go ahead and grow and develop. So I definitely do not see Hargrave being traded. I think he's playing too well. I think that he's been a really, really, really good player. And with Jordan Davis and Milton Williams now here with another year underneath his belt, they're only going to be better. I mean, the amount of double teams that both Cox and Hargrave are going to see here in 2022 going to be a fraction of what it actually has been because of all the pass rush help on the outside from Reddick and Sweat and Brandon Graham coming back from injury. This D-line is stacked. I mean, this is the best D-line I've seen in Philadelphia in a long time. Rate the Eagles' D-line right now. Scale of 1 to 100. I'm at like a 95. Like, to me, it's really good, guys. It's going to be so good. Rate the Eagles' D-line down below right now. Okay, Hamrani says, hi, Thomas. I have heard and seen pictures of Deebo, Dak, and CD together, and I've heard he could go to Dallas. Think such a thing could happen. Also, would that make Dallas a bigger threat to the Eagles this year? Thomas. Yeah, I mean, Deebo's a great player, and Deebo being paired up with Dak and CD would make for a very good offense, and I think Deebo would love to go to Dallas. He's one of those players that I think maybe grew up a Cowboys fan or likes the Cowboys or whatever, and there have been those pictures. Doesn't mean he's going to actually go there, but, you make a good point. But here's the deal. Dak's had great weapons his entire career. Dak Prescott has had the luxury of, at one point an elite Zeke Elliott to lean on. And Zeke was great for a long time, and now he's way overpaid, and stinks. And now Pollard's taken over some of his snaps. He almost always had Amari Cooper throughout his career. Now he has CeeDee Lamb. I mean, they have had elite receivers on the outside for Dak Prescott his entire career. And really, you had the one, 12-4 season where they lost in the playoffs, and it's like, would Deebo elevate them that much more? I don't think so. I think they have offensive line issues. I think that the running game is getting worse and worse each year. I think that the defensive line is not what it once was. The linebackers not what they once were. The Cowboys had that year pre, the little time span pre Dak Prescott, where they had a chance to really win some stuff, and they, won a lot of games that 12-win year, but then didn't do much in the playoffs. And so I think that, not that the Dak Prescott era is over, it very much is, but I just don't think that Deebo would make them better than the Eagles right now. I think Philadelphia is finally going to get the upper hand on the Dallas Cowboys, which has not been the case the past couple of years. Plus, as we've, the Deebo rumors have calmed down. I think Deebo's going to stay in San Francisco. Your chance to trade him was during the draft. The Jets apparently tried to trade him number 10 overall. San Francisco said no. I think they understand their offense needs Deebo Samuel, and so they're going to find a way to pay him and keep him there in SF. Let's do one more here. Mubi Abbas, I think. Sorry, I don't know. I butcher names all the time. Hey, I'm subscribed to your channel, and my question for your mailbag is if you think Jalen Hurts is ceiling better than Donovan McNabb's prime, and if so, can he win a Super Bowl? This is a tough question. Let's just say this. We do not appreciate Donovan McNabb enough. And again, I was really young, and so, you almost forget sometimes what McNabb was able to do. The guy was an elite quarterback, and the guy, if he wins a Super Bowl, he's considered one of the best quarterbacks of my generation. You don't go to 5 NFC Championship games, on a fluke, and it was the back-to-back, kind of stuff that they did back during the early 2000s. If he wins that Super Bowl against Brady, he's a Hall of Famer, and he is constantly talked about as a top 10 quarterback, of the past 20 years, if not a top 5 quarterback of the past 20 years, because he won so darn much. But losing the Super Bowl obviously had, it had its effects, and they never really were the same after that. A run in 2008, whenever they lost to the Cardinals, you won a Super Bowl then, it continues to help the legacy, but we don't appreciate how great McNabb was. Hurts is just so young. It's like, is his ceiling higher than McNabb's prime? I don't know. McNabb was a much better thrower of the football during his prime than Jalen Hurts is currently. So Hurts' accuracy, it's got to go up. I mean, McNabb was an absolute gunslinger. He was really, really good throwing the football. And I think that Hurts can get there, but it's just so early and he's so young, it's so hard to tell. Either way, though, Hurts has a long way to go. I mean, we're talking about getting to McNabb level. You got to get to an NFC Championship game. And you don't have to buy the NFC Championship games. Like, it's a lot to go ahead and get to. So I would argue that, no, he's not there. I would say that maybe the ceiling can get there, but pump the brakes a little bit. Long way to go. Appreciate D. McNabb for being as great as he is. I'd love to interview McNabb at some point. I wonder if he could ever come on the channel. That'd be fun to talk to McNabb and get his thoughts on the current state of the Eagles. But I don't know. Might be a pipe dream. What do you guys think? Did you watch the entire video? We're about to end here. Drop a like down below if you're a true fan. You watched the entire video. Give this one a thumbs up. Let's get to 500 likes on today's video. I'd appreciate that. Ultimate today on our weekend mailbag video. Hashtag Eagles in the comments to be a part of next week's mailbag video. Of course, must be a subscriber. And of course, follow me on Twitter at Thomas Mott. When I ask me a personal question regarding the Eagles, DM me on Twitter at Thomas Mott as always. For Philadelphia Eagles Now, producer Trace, Thomas Mott signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.